right, hey everyone, Paul C. Torina here, nutritional therapist and Nativist life coach out of Vegas, here to give you a little update in between isode meeting leading up to our third meeting. So we're in the fourth week, or launching off into the fourth week, and I think most of us should start to be starting to get the hang of things, falling into a little bit of a groove. We're also starting to mix things up and get some new information out there, and we always like to give you these little kind of booster meetings in between before we launch into our next meeting. So I'm going to give you a little recap of our goals, make sure that you're on track with things. I had someone yesterday ask me, like, how are you so happy all the time? You know, I love what I do, obviously. Like, I couldn't ask for anything better. But the reason that I'm here is because I got my foundation straight and I feel amazing. And I started envisioning and I started thinking about things that I want in my life. And everything else started to evolve and unfold from there. So I truly believe that no matter what your life situation is, you can have an amazing life and you can wake up with excitement and wonder and like anticipation of great things happening. But to do that, you have to feel good. And I cannot emphasize that enough. You know, our life situations are always going to change. We're always going to be hit with difficulties. Those things, the goal of our program and our priming and practice and these other things that we're doing is not to have a life where you don't have difficulties, because it's just impossible. But if you feel good, you're going to react with those things and interact with those things a little bit differently. And that's the whole point of this program. Like, yes, it gives you optimal health markers. It's a crucial matter. Long-term health, longevity, quality of life. But on a daily basis, what it really equates to is just feeling good and tackling your life in a completely different way. And the reason that I'm happy all the time is because I do the things that are necessary for my body to make its own energy the right way, which translates into all kinds of hormonal and genetic effects that we're looking for. So you're on the right path. Doing these things and feeling good every day allows you to be this receptacle, this optimal receptacle for great things that you want to have happen in your life. And then the only thing that you got to do is start thinking about what you want and make sure you commit to that morning process, you know. And it's that simple. You know, I have this conversation with people all the time. Like, this has got to be about feeling good. And you have to connect with feeling good. And then all the other things flow from that. That's really the truth. So that's our goal. That's our wish for you guys. And, every day, me and Nicole, we're always trying to hone our focus. You know, every day I sit and I think about the community and what we can do. Like, seriously, like, my heart is in this. Our hearts are in this. We want the best for everyone. We're always thinking about, like, what else can we do to support everyone and keep everyone moving forward. We are trying to build a business at the same time, but our priority, we truly feel that if we can help people and move people forward and keep people connected and motivated and engaged, that the rest of that business piece of it's going to figure itself out. And it certainly does. As time goes on, things have gotten better and better and better. But every day our focus is supporting our community, coming out with useful content. We try to come out with like a video or two every week. And then also we have to consider outreach. So I want to make a plug here. If you know anybody that would benefit from this program, not if you know, I know you know. I know you know people that would benefit from this program. Send them to our website. Have them subscribe to the blog. If you're in contact with anyone that is a business owner or someone that is in charge of like an organization or association or has access to people, you know, we got a great talk coming up we're doing in Tahoe to a group of firefighters. Like, connect us with this. You know, I mean, we do all kinds of corporate programs and seminars and things, and we love that kind of stuff because we get to access a lot of people. So anyway, that's a whole tangent. Didn't mean to go there. So, we love what we do, and our goal is for people to have an exceptional experience with us, and we're trying really hard to make that happen. So, all right, so let's go touch base on all our different goals that we've had since last weekend, and just kind of reiterate them and go back through this. Remember, with your priming and practice, you just got to commit to it every single freaking morning. I don't care how you feel. You know, if you feel like skipping it, if you feel like doing it, if you feel like you're doing it right or you're not doing it right, like, that doesn't matter. The point of it is, just like with exercise, I have to be consistent. And all we're looking for is less than 10 minutes every morning where you sit down, you put yourself through a state of gratitude. You meditate for 5 minutes. You can go a little bit longer if you want to, but make sure you have a timer. You might meditate for 5 minutes, focusing on sounds in the environment and just being present. You want to look for your tendency to think about things, or look for images, thoughts. You know, maybe you'll find yourself completely lost in thought, and that's perfectly fine, because every time you notice that and come back to listening, that's the big win. That's like a repetition in exercise, okay? We have a really good, in the video that we did for the meeting video, which is, I know, like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. If you go to minute 18, I think it is, that's where we start talking about the priming and practice and the conscious mind, unconscious mind. So we have a link to the video. Refresh yourself on that information. And then remember, after the meditation is immediately when we want to read through our envisioning material, whatever we have put together. So at this point, you should have done the closing the gap protocol, which means that you think about what you want. And this is end state. This is not what you want in a week or a month or next year. This is more like what you want out of that life area in life in general. You know, bigger picture things, something that gets you really excited. Craft some statements or some phrases around that idea or that picture of what you want. And then you think about, well, where am I at right now? That's where that second piece of that worksheet comes in. And then you come up with at least one action step that would move you in that direction. That will give you some momentum. One action step. So we don't have to figure out, remember with the unconscious mind, it works on the principle of least effort. I don't have to figure out how to get to that end result. What I do need to figure out is what is something I can do right now to move in that direction. And as I do that, I start to gain momentum. And then sometimes my goals shift, my priorities shift, my envisioning shifts, and we can come back and revisit those things. So priming and practice, I would say just do it. If you struggle with it, make yourself do it. Commit to the process. The more you do it, the more comfortable and familiar you get with it. And then I'm always here to practice with you because I love doing that. I meditate. You know, of course, I do my morning session. I usually do 2 or 3 times throughout the day, so I'm getting my sun exposure. And then I love working with my private clients on it. It's one of our little habitual things that we like to do together. And then make sure that you visit minute 18 in the presentation because we go over a really good refresher about all this information. So now with the food piece of it, we're still pretty basic. You know, we're doing 5 food groups, ideal days meals, strategic carb consumption, but now our focus is nurturing self-sufficiency. And remember, we talked about all these different things that we do to nurture self-sufficiency. And remember, self-sufficiency, i.e. fat burning, is the ultimate goal of this food piece. Because once that happens inside my body, everything else that I'm looking for out of this program follows, right? Feeling amazing comes from self-sufficiency and fat burning. Performance, better performance comes from teaching my body this metabolic flexibility piece. The body composition piece certainly happens over the long term, the more that you commit to this self-sufficiency piece. So I'd say 80%, 90% of everything that you're looking for from this program is going to come from this concept of self-sufficiency. So what we're doing, what we should have been doing for the past week and what we certainly need to recommit to over this next week is nurturing natural space in between meals. All right, so for most of us, I think that's happening automatically. I mean, most of us has transitioned from whatever it was we were doing to now we're doing 2 or 3 meals a day. Maybe even one of those middle meals looks kind of like a snack more than it does a meal, and that's great. And then we want to make sure that in between those main meals, we have space, all right? If you're struggling with the space piece, remember, we're not looking to force space uncomfortably, but we do want to push the boundary and just pause and ask the question, do I really need to eat right now? Am I just eating because this is in front of me or it's just that time of day? Or can I push it just a little bit? Because the more that we have space, the more we're nurturing self-sufficiency, and at the same time, we don't want to make ourselves extremely uncomfortable. And you know, if you feel like you need to eat, then go ahead and eat. Make sure you have some appropriate snacks and things. I've talked with a couple of people over the past few weeks. Certainly most people are moving in that direction, but I've talked with a couple people that are still really having a hard time with that space piece, and they're still having a little bit of headaches and irritability and what sounds like low blood sugar symptoms, and that's fine. Some people have some longer transitional periods. Man, I've worked with people months, I think I remember Yessie, Colby's wife, we had worked together for over 6 months before she really got over her headaches and nausea and all that kind of stuff. So just move in that direction. You understand what we're looking for with that. Remember also, we're looking for training on an empty stomach, 3 to 5 hours of space between your last meal and your workout. The way to gauge that is if you're burping, having some kind of acid reflux or digestive issue in your workout, you're eating too close to it. For me personally, and I know that I've been doing this a long time, the more empty I can be, the better. I love to work out first thing in the morning, but even if I was working out at 10, 12 noon or something, I probably wouldn't eat until afterwards. Ideally, if you can, first thing in the morning when you get up and you're in this fasted state, this empty state, you would want to do a little bit of movement. I like to take Conan for a really brief walk just before I come to the gym. But you can do some squats or some sit-ups or something like that. It doesn't have to be anything intense, but just remember, moving while you're empty forces your body to learn metabolic flexibility. It forces your body to learn how to use fat for fuel at a calm and relaxed pace. And then when you go into a really hard workout, it learns how to tap into your emergency response systems and things like that. And then the final piece of that is, remember, we're pulling back on carbohydrates. We're not eliminating them. I know some of you are trying to be low carb right now, and we don't need to do that just yet because we're going into a low carb phase this next week. But what we do want to do is start to pull back on those sources. I think most people are still going to do really well with their energy levels and body composition if you stay lower carbish. And lower carbish means a fistful of safe starches cooked every evening per person in your fist, not your husband's fist, not your giant uncle's fist. And then also, with like fruit and desserts, trying to keep those things, somewhat minimal. I mean, not eliminate. I have fruit just about every night, maybe a little bit of dark chocolate or something like that. All right, so those things are going to help move us in that direction. And then, of course, remember, one of our keys to self-sufficiency is a low-carb phase we'll be going into here really soon. And again, if you're struggling to make this work, don't get too neurotic about the space piece of it. Just have it in the back of your mind. Let it happen naturally. Push the boundaries just a little bit. And then also remember, getting that first meal right every day is the absolute crucial piece of this whole thing. That first meal is going to set a tone for the day, and for most of us, it's going to give us momentum to make better decisions and choices throughout the rest of the day. If you're starting the day off and you're not getting that first meal right, it's going to be really hard to maintain the rest of the day and make other better choices. But if you get that first meal right, even if you don't do something right later in the day, I mean, that's like 50% of the battle right there or more, okay? For Operation Lights Out, it's our first circadian rhythm tweak. And remember, the goal is for us to make that bedroom a pristine, quiet, cool, dark cave. Electronic free as possible. I do have my phone near me because I use a sleep app, and I have it in airplane mode, but I use a sleep app and I use it for an alarm. But beyond that, I have a fan going, and then my room is completely blacked out. I just moved into a new place, and of course, even with my blinds closed, like I have light coming in from some street lights, so I went and got some blackout shades, and I just used some thumbtacks and put those up around the window. And now at night, when I cut off my lights, like it is completely dark in there. And then I have some wind going. I love the fan. It's like a hurricane in there, really. And that's perfectly fine. But other than that, like we want to make sure that our room is stimulus free for the most part. Now, something that you can do that's really going to help with this, all right? Definitely when you go to bed, you want to be off your phone and all that stuff. That's the requirements of Operation Lights Out. I would say an hour and a half to 2 hours before going to bed, have an alarm set in your phone that reminds you to start to wind down. And even if you got a lot of things going on, you cannot remove that unconscious cue that you have. And chances are you're going to start to wind down and want to go to bed a little bit earlier, all right? So an hour and a half to 2 hours before going to bed, have an alarm go off on your phone. And then also, let's make sure that we remember mineralized hydration. I can't emphasize the importance of this. I've got some useful links that we'll send out on our resource page for superhumansunited.com. And, remember, if we're drinking really clean, pure water, our body has to convert that pure water into tears and mucus and saliva and digestive juices and all the different interstitial fluids and things. And so we want to help the body out. Give it a little bit of minerals, a pinch of unrefined salt at a minimum, but you can also add that product concentrates, which we have in some links all over the place, but we'll definitely put it in link below this video. And then as a bonus, we like to do the vitamin C. I think that's pretty much everything that we put in there. So what else? Oh, remember to check your guide for the different phases coming up. We have the hero's journey, what to expect, and then also what to expect at these different meetings. So this next meeting coming up, we're covering low carb, we're getting into some more meditation, and we're getting into some more circadian rhythm tweaks. I'm telling you, this next circadian rhythm tweak is the 1-2 punch in addition to the Operation Lights Out for getting a really good sleep every night. So I think that's about it. We had a great food prep class this last week. It was our first time doing it. Thank you to everyone letting us experiment on you for the most part, but we're going to improve that and make it a little bit better. Try to have one of those again in the near future. We might try to do a little video recap of it. Not sure how that's going to work because we already have a food prep video, but we'll think about that piece of it. We have some dinners coming up, and we're going to try to schedule some hikes and camping trips here really soon. And I think that's it. Just keep doing the best that you can. I know a lot of you guys are rocking this. And if you're not, if you don't feel like it, remember, better is better. You want to keep moving forward. Just keep stepping forward. Keep trying to meet this thing where you can. Better is better. Seeing small incremental improvements is a good thing. If you really, really struggle with things, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. This Facebook group is great. We're about to get the app all figured out, and so that's going to be a good resource and a place we can interact. And then our office is always open, okay? We love you guys. We really do. Cherish and love you guys so much, all right? Let us